And Warden Lichty, I'll give you the heads up as soon as I know that we're live.
Okay.
So we're now live and we're good to go.
Thank you. Just let me get back to the first screen here. Great. Okay. I'd like to call this special meeting of the County of Frontenac Council to order. Time is approximately 5:02 p.m. on May the 14th. Is there any disclosure, pecuniary interest, and general nature thereof? Hearing none, seeing none. Jeanette, would you do us the honor of reading the traditional land acknowledgement, please?
For sure. We begin this gathering by acknowledging and celebrating these traditional lands as a gathering place of the First Peoples and their ancestors who are entrusted to care for Mother Earth since time immemorial. We do so respecting both the land and the Indigenous people who continue to walk with us through this world. Today, the county is committed to working with Indigenous peoples and all residents to pursue a united path of reconciliation.
Okay. Thank you very much. I guess we should approve the agenda first. Do we have a mover and a seconder? So I got Fran Smith, Mayor Smith, and a seconder is Judy Greenwood Spears. Okay. Thanks, Judy. All in favor?
Yay.
Any opposed? Seeing none. Hearing none. Let's go into the item of business, presentation by the Eastern Ontario Regional Network on the Eorn Cell Gap Coverage Project.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. I guess it's evening, actually. Thank you for putting together the group here today to have a discussion. As you were in, we wanted to give an update on the Cell Gap project and where we're at, and as well as a couple other topics. So, and appreciate it's 5 o'clock on a Wednesday. It's always 5 o'clock somewhere, I guess, in Frontenac County, which is a good thing. So we'll get right into it. Especially in the north, always 5 o'clock in the north. So why don't we just, if we can just jump into it, maybe the next slide, please. There we go. Thank you. So just quickly on the agenda, we do have a few slides just to take the group through on the Cell Gap project to date, as well as we wanted to share some information on our strategic plan, which was revised in June of last year. And I don't believe we've had an opportunity to come back to Frontenac since we've completed that, just with a few modifications and changes that we've strategically made with our board as well as with our staff. And then as always, we're open to questions and comments from the group as well. Next slide, please. So just to dive right into the Cell Gap project to date, the next slide, please. Just as a reminder, we always like to do this from year to year. Sometimes we have we forget what the value we're trying to close here. So overall, from the project, we have 3 prime objectives that we're looking to meet. The first is 99% coverage, where people work, live, and drive on major roadways, so they can make cell phone calls. 95% of that same footprint area where people can, with standard definition, and what standard definition will do is support basic data transmission such as email, web browsing, and some social media services. And 85% of that same footprint area where we'll provide high definition services, which can support video conferencing, movie streaming, and other more data intensive type applications. Next slide, please. As always, we like to share the funding split on here and make sure that we've acknowledged those who have made a contribution to this project. So on the Cell Gap project across Eastern Ontario, we're looking at over a $300 million investment before in-kind contributions and community benefits. This is just purely financial allocations and contributions to the project. $71 million of that has been made by the province of Ontario. Just under, well, we'll guess with a rounding, we're 71 million with the government of Canada, the federal government. $10 million contributions have been made by the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus, as well as the Eastern Ontario Mayor's Caucus. And Rogers Communication, who was successful in winning our RFP when it was issued in 2020, will be making a minimum investment of $150 million in Eastern Ontario. Next slide, please. On the project itself, and this map here is just to reflect the amount of effort and work that's going on throughout Eastern Ontario to meet our objectives. I will have to say that this work is being done with a staff of 12 people, so quite an undertaking between the duty to consult process, the construction piece, the communications, and the excuse me, and the management and relationship management with Rogers. But overall, based on the investments for this area, we are looking at approximately a 30-to-1 return on investment across Eastern Ontario. So, and that's just at this point is just a very basic return on investment calculation. We haven't gone into the details. That will be part of our final reporting, is a more in-depth return on investment, so we can really explain and understand what the true impacts of this project have been in Eastern Ontario. If we look at the overall project, we are looking to build 258 new sites across Eastern Ontario. About 51% of those are in service, a little bit higher than that, probably about 53% now after the most recent one we received on Monday in North Frontenac. Central Frontenac. 311 uplifts were to be completed, and this is where the technology was changed to new technology. So where it used to be maybe the old LTE or 3G type services, or even in some cases 2G, we've now put new radios on that with Rogers that will allow for 5G connectivity and is scalable into future spectrums as well. 100% of those sites across Eastern Ontario have been completed as of the end of last year. And on the co-locations, and this is where Rogers will be placing their equipment on a tower that's owned by either a Bell, a TELUS, or one of the third-party tower builders. We have 74 of those across Eastern Ontario, and 87% of those have been completed. Overall, from a project perspective, we're just about 80% of the project has now been completed across Eastern Ontario. One of the items that we have been talking about, there's been a lot of discussion around ASIP. Although our project was to focus on mobile cellular connectivity and mobile data usage, the technology that's being introduced in many areas is also able to support the provincial goals of the 5010 services through wireless home internet. So in some of these areas where this has been newly introduced, especially in some of the cottage countries, we are seeing an introduction of the ability to offer really good, stable wireless broadband access as well. Next slide, please. So where it really matters in Frontenac County, the county itself has made an investment of just about $390,000. And for that, with the infrastructure that's being built and the services being provided, we see an investment of about $17 million being made in the county. So if we do, again, basic calculation, we're looking at about a 44-to-1 return on investment throughout Frontenac County. If we get right into the actual sites, we do have 13 new builds that are being built throughout the county. Excuse me, and 6 of those, I think it's actually 8 now. This date is a little bit dated, so 8 of those 13 are now in service. On the upgrades, we have 13 that were to be completed. All of those have been finished as of the end of last year. And on the co-locations, there are 4 scheduled to be done. There's 6 to be done, and 4 of those have actually been completed. Overall, within Frontenac County itself, 72% of our sites have been done so far to the project life. Next slide, please. On the overall construction plan, really what we're showing here is there's still a lot of heavy lifting. We have the start of the project was a little bit slow to get going. We have started to see a positive momentum there now. So if we look at project to life, we've completed, according to this, the 121. We're probably close to 130 sites, as well as 64 co-locations. This year that we're just starting into, and we do go by a fiscal year, so in year 5, we have 113 new sites that we are looking to have built. So it's not a small uplift when we've been trending sort of 60 to 70 sites a year, but we feel with the amount of planning and work that's been done through our duty to consult teams, as well as working with the municipalities on the LUAs, we are in a good position to meet those objectives. There are 8 co-locations to be done this year, which leaves the 24 new sites and the 2 co-locations to be completed next year, which for our project, we are finished in July 30th, 2026. So overall, we'll have the 258 new sites built and the 74 co-locations. Next slide, please. So So here's the actual sites that we are looking at. So the first two are co-locations. The remaining two co-locations, one is to be finished this year, one is to be finished next year. So we hopefully will have good news on those announcements shortly. I'm trying to think that, sorry, yeah. And then if we go down into the new tower sites, these are the sites and the in-service plan dates that we show for those sites as well. So if there's any questions, we can take a look at those after. A couple of these, especially for those from North Frontenac, are quite familiar, as Lisa and myself, Paula, spent a bit of time there with staff working through this to make sure that we could get through the LUA process on this, as well as communicating with a couple of local residents, and we really do appreciate the support from staff to be able to get these through. So those are in scope, and we are looking to get those built as quickly as possible, knowing the amount of effort that it took to get those through that process. Actually, that one in Westport and White Lake, I believe that is the one that may have just got fired up this week. I can't remember exactly, but I think it was that one. The next slide, please. This map here is we're reflective of the high definition coverage. So if what we thought we'd take is the most data intensive and most powered requirements for coverage in Eastern Ontario. So if we took voice, this would pretty much all be orange. If we took standard definition, almost all of it would be orange. But high definition being the power required to cover these areas, we felt was the most challenging objective for us to meet. So if we look at the map on the left, this is the actual coverage that we show as of our fall propagation for Eastern Ontario. So coverage is pretty good. But based on that and what we have coming for those last about 100 and some tower sites to be done, we'll see a 93% coverage against our demand bins. Now, our overall objective was 85%, so we are looking to be exceeding those targets when we are finished this project. Next slide, please. This one here is just a little bit more of a granular feel to it. Again, everybody seems to know which roads go through, but these are the major roadways that we've shown throughout Eastern Ontario. The map on the left is the drive test data that was taken in the fall of 2021. The areas that are in orange are those areas that either had very poor coverage or no coverage at all. In the map on the right, this was the most recent drive test data that was completed in the fall of 2024, and we're already seeing some positive impacts on those major roadways as far as coverage for connectivity. One piece I feel remiss not to make a point of at this point, to realize the service coverage on these maps. These are Rogers customers, and the service that we're providing is through the Rogers platform. So if you are a Bell customer or a TELUS customer, they may not see the same sort of coverage that we do have through the Rogers programs. Next slide, please. So 2024 has been a very busy year for the EORN, especially for the communications and DTC teams. This is a reflection of the amount of work that we've done. We've spent a great deal of time working with the ministry staff and ministers, MPs and MPPs, to ensure that our programs are still supported, which they are. The most recent change from MOI to Ministry of Energy and Mines has allowed us to reintroduce this program and project to a new ministry. We're fortunate that the core group of people, the staffers who were involved in our project, will be transferring over to MEM. So there's not an entire re-education required there. But we have spent a fair amount of time working with them on ensuring they understand EORN, Eastern Ontario, the relationship with the OWC, and what those services are going to bring. We've also spent quite a bit of time working with our First Nations and Indigenous communities throughout Eastern Ontario to ensure they're aware of what's happening. We have a very strong relationship and communications with those communities that we are working with. We've also had quite a bit of inquiry, about 320 inquiries. Specifically, more of that's around the cell gap, but we've also had some inquiries around the ASIP program, which is the Provincial Fibre to the Home or broadband programs throughout Eastern Ontario as well. Next slide, please. On the timelines and our next steps, so our upgrades to existing towers is complete, so we can check that one off. The land use authority process, we are continuing to work through. We are looking at a end of June target time to have these completed by, in order for us to have enough runway for Rogers to be able to build these sites by the end of July 2026. The Indigenous consultation process will continue through the life of our project and beyond. The new tower construction is ongoing till the end of July 2026. Announcements have been stymied a little bit with a couple of elections that have occurred. Perfect. But now that those have been finalized and everybody's in place, we are expecting hopefully in June that we'll be able to start making joint announcements with the provincial and federal partners, as well as with Rogers in those cases and the local municipalities where the services are being provided. And under EORN, we are looking to pursue other initiatives. We've been involved in the CMHC funding. We've been involved in automated speed enforcement, where we are looking at some programs along those lines. So looking to expand our the areas where we might be able to support municipalities, especially in a regional perspective, address issues or concerns, or either around technical skill sets or capacity to be able to create and deliver programs and projects that would benefit the residents and businesses of Eastern Ontario. Next slide, please. So there's two slides here, and I won't go into these too detailed, as I think you have a copy of the deck, and if there's questions, I'd be happy to work with us to talk to that. But just that right now, if you're reading the papers or online, the telecommunications landscape is in a bit of a flux. We are seeing a lot of divestment from vertical real estate. So in cases of TELUS or Rogers, they've started to sell off the tower sites. Probably won't be long till we see Bell Canada do something similar. We're also seeing foreign and third-party investments, such as Blackstone Networks, which made a $7 billion investment into Rogers to help support them through some of their projects and programs in the transport network. So that's the backhaul that they're using. One that may impact some of the municipalities within Eastern Ontario, but specifically within Frontenac County, is that Redwood Infrastructure is also working on behalf of Rogers in many areas to build fiber networks into the right-of-way. So there may be that name may become familiar with some of the members on the call. The next slide, please, is just a second slide around a little bit more of the work that's been going on there to share. The next slide, please. So on the strategic plan itself, this came forward in June of 2024. Next slide, please. And this was an effort put forward by the EORN Board of Directors as well as staff to look at the future direction in the next 5 years that our organization will be heading. There's a realization that the CellGap project is almost finished. We are continuing to support in a few broadband projects, but overall, if we want to continue to be able to be relevant and be part of the fabric of Eastern Ontario, we need to find new ways that we can support member municipalities and organizations with our skill sets. So it was under that we redid our letters of patent in June of 2024, which is not something that an organization like EORN goes through very often. But under our new letters of patent, which is part of our qualifying non-for-profit status, we now have 4 key areas that we're focused on trying to support or working to support. Project management services. So we have 2 project managers in Eastern Ontario, although one of them has announced earlier this week will be leaving our organization for Utilities Kingston, but we do have capacity for project management services, infrastructure project services, technology service support, looking at new applications, whether it's smart cities, OIT application, IoT applications, AI, cybersecurity, etc., and overall general municipal support where there may be a regional opportunity to support municipalities through projects or concepts and ideas as we flush those out to see if they are viable. We do work very closely with the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus as well as the Eastern Ontario Mayor's Caucus, as well as the OLC, to ensure that all of these projects align as closely as possible and have that strategic development goal as well to benefit those in Eastern Ontario. Next slide, please. Under just a few of the current initiatives that we're working on right now, so we've developed and implemented a successful duty to consult process, which we are more than open to sharing with any municipalities that may be looking for support or direction on some of the requirements within the duty to consult processes. We are seeing a renewed interest from the province to ensure that those processes are adhered to and followed before the projects are permitted to proceed. We're working currently with Lanark County on an automated speed enforcement project, which is the speed cameras, to look at a regional approach under the county and neighboring municipalities to be able to implement ASE from a turnkey perspective on end to end. We're working with the Canadian Internet Registry Authority, so CIRA, on broadband performance. And one of our requests from these meetings is always, if you can help us promote, we do have a slide on this, is we're looking to test the broadband performance in our communities in Eastern Ontario to help support the government to allocate additional funds to close any gaps that may be there that they're not aware of. We are working with the province, MEM now, on the very last premise project. There were a few areas in Eastern Ontario that were either missed due to mapping errors or were not allocated funding for whatever reasons. We've identified those with the province, and we are working through a program with them right now to try to find funding to close some of those gaps with local ISPs. We are working on a digital twin project, which Kevin has been well aware of with the GIS background experience he has. We've been leveraging his knowledge and as well as some of the team in the GIS space to look at a rural or a digital twin for rural areas. And we're looking at regional procurement opportunities such as cybersecurity, insurance, these types of opportunities which are slowly coming forward. So a number of things in the funnel already as we continue to look for that, but we're always open to discussion if there's new ideas or additional ideas that may come from staff or from the elected officials in Eastern Ontario where they feel an organization like EORN may be able to benefit them. Next slide, please. This is just the slide around this year. So this is just from this perspective, we are looking for support or help. We did put this out on our LinkedIn website through EORN, but we are also looking to share the link with local municipalities so they can communicate this out to residents so we can test broadband speeds throughout Eastern Ontario and identify gaps or success stories, because it's always nice to have a success story as well, where the provincial funding has been realized and the 50-10 or the speeds they're looking to have been met. Next slide, please. That's it.
Hey, first of all, thank you, Jason. Excellent presentation. Does anyone have any questions?
Yes.
Judy, is that you? I'd like to address your comment. Go ahead.
Yeah, I actually put it in the chat. I thought maybe that's how they were going to be looking at it. But I haven't really noticed any improvement on Frontenac Islands. Our South Shores, both on Howe Island as well as Wolf, and that it's dead zones, calls drop, plus we often get roaming from the US that interferes with everything. For example, we can't use internet connection for even payment at Big Sandy Bay. And that, so I haven't seen anything of great benefit for Frontenac Islands and that, but I did notice in the EORN gap information that was in our package at the previous council meeting for the township that there was one mention of Howe Island, but there was no mention of Wolf. So can you expand on when we will get an improvement in service?
Absolutely. Great question. And thank you. And I guess maybe just the first challenge we always find is anywhere along the St. Lawrence River, we do appreciate and understand that there have been challenges with the US signals, and that depends on signal strength. So by building these tower sites along those areas, our plan would be is that the closest and stronger signal will be on the Canadian side. So we'll be able to reduce some of those roaming fees and charges and challenges across the river. We do have, and I believe, and Lisa, keep me honest on this, but I believe we have 2 tower sites on Wolf Island. One was an uplift and one is a co-location. If you are you a Rogers customer or a Bell customer?
Bell.
Bell. So because we are working
I'm a
with
Bell.
Right. So because we are working with Rogers, Bell customers would not notice the change in service footprint. I would be interested to have a Rogers phone cover that area to see if there is a noticeable change or not. But I can't, I'll take that away and I'll see if I can get some more information on that one as well. Yeah, Lisa?
Okay, because even if we could get it to the point that we could use the internet connect for collecting fees at Big Sandy Bay, it would be a significant help, and we could get a Moneris type terminal set up, but we can't do that at this point.
Well, if we can take that away, we'll look specifically at that area to see what the coverage from the Rogers services look like, and maybe there is an opportunity there for some sort of point of POS type of terminal to be added. Lisa, you
Thank you.
had
I
a
just
comment?
wanted to make a point, though, that even if you're a Bell customer, if you had to make that 911 call, it has been legislated by the federal government that any 911 calls would ride over both networks. So if you had to make that emergency phone call, even though you're a Bell customer and there was service in the area, you would be able to make that 911 call.
Are there any other comments or questions? Councillor Fowler.
Thank you. Some of the people I know are concerned about the possibility of high radio frequencies in the area near the towers. Is there some place where we can send these people to get the information, or can you answer any of these questions and concerns regarding that?
We can definitely share the information that we've been provided through Health Canada, which is around Safety Code 6. It does lay it out to the best of the ability to address some of those concerns which residents have identified over the past few years. So we'd be happy to share that. We have, I believe, shared that in some of our sessions where we've met with either communities or residents, but we'd happy to share that as well. So you have a copy of that you can distribute as required.
Did that answer your
Can I
question?
get a copy
Councillor Fowler?
sent to me?
Absolutely. Yep. Yes, we'll find a way to get that link across to you as soon as we can.
And they can actually reach out to EORN as well at info@eorn.ca or to myself, and I can share that information with you. We take calls almost daily about the cell project, so.
Okay. Anyone else? Am I missing? I don't have full view of everybody, so. Okay. So Jason and Lisa, I guess that's it. Thank you so much for updating us. We look forward to receiving another one down the road. Go ahead.
No, absolutely. And we would like to thank the Frontenac staff for the help. We know there's been a number of challenging scenarios where there's been a lot of questions asked of them. It's been a very collaborative approach with our teams, and we appreciate the feedback and the open communication back and forth from both staff and elected officials. So if there's more questions, you know where to reach us, and please do not hesitate to let us know, and we'll do the best we can to try to support any questions or requests that you may receive.
Thank you so much.
Lisa?
And if I can just add, we'd like to, we're very thankful to have Fran sitting on our board. She always brings a very calming effect and lots of wisdom. So she is our vice chair. So just a shout out to Fran.
Thanks, Lisa.
I'm not so sure about calming, but other than that, it works well.
There are days.
I know. Okay. Once again, thank you so much. Jeanette, could you read the confirmatory bylaws, those resolutions, please?
For sure. So for first and second reading, it's moved by Councillor Smith, seconded by Councillor Greenwood Spears. Resolved that leave be given to the mover to introduce bylaw A that has been circulated to all members of County Council, and that bylaw A be read a first and second time.
In favor? Opposed? Third reading? Carried, by the way, third reading.
Moved by Councillor Smith, seconded by Councillor Greenwood Spears, that resolved that bylaw A be read a third time, signed, sealed, and finally passed.
In favor? Anyone opposed? The resolution is carried. And then
So
we
the
have the
final
Yeah,
He says
go
the
ahead.
motion to adjourn, and that's moved by Councillor Vandewaal and seconded by Councillor Fowler, that the meeting hereby adjourn at 5:30 p.m.
Anyone opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you, one and all. We really appreciate your time.
And Lisa, if you or Jason could get that information to me that Councillor Fowler was looking for, and I'll make sure that all of the council members receive it.
And Vern, before you go, could you give me a call tonight when you get some time? Okay,
can.
folks. Pardon?
I say sure can.
Okay. That's it, folks. Thank you so much for your time.
Good night,
Enjoy your
everyone.
evening.